text message from.
And we are live. Don't be talking about your text messages. This is Hola, Cage Fighting Connoisseurs. This is Kid Nate of BloodyElbow.com, joined once again by the purple belt wearing Eugene S. Robinson. Everything you ever want to know about ass kicking and blah, 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 blah.
But we're afraid to get you asking for asking. Yes.
There you go. There you go. That purple flashes, dude. You need a different color of robe to go with your purple belt.
Purple rain.
That sounds more like chocolate rain than purple rain, dude. I don't know. So, we're going to talk about UFC 174, but honestly, after yesterday, who cares about UFC 174? Eugene's saying goodbye to as many pupils there that he coaches at the Heartbreak Gym. What do you call your gym?
Team Dream Crush.
And that's Coach Leopoldo Serral. Of course, Eugene wouldn't be coaching, but mentoring.
Anything I could teach you, you don't need to know.
You teach it the hard way with an elbow socket, elbow in the eye socket.
How do you know? It happened today. How do you know? I feel totally bad about that. I go, I was like, oh.
Well, live and learn, live and learn. Honestly, after yesterday's news...
Did I mention I'm 51? Sorry.
You're 51? I thought you were 50.
No, I'm 51, man. I turned 52 in August.
Well, happy birthday in advance.
Yeah,
you should have held the line at 49, though. I really regret not holding the line at 39. My wife does, too, because she thinks she could have stayed 33 for quite a while.
Hey, man, I bought some vodka the other night, and the woman carded me. I was like,
Did you show her the gray hair?
I said, well, you got to be kidding me. That means that you think I'm under 21. She goes, well, you can't be too sure. I was like, you fucking dummy. I mean, most older people are like, you're flattered. I'm just like, you are stupid. You know?
Oh, Eugene, you're a heartstrong.
Because if she and I were in a club and I pulled that, she'd be like, who's that old ass man trying to tell me he's 20?
Exactly.
Anyway, we're going to talk about drugs.
We are going to be talking about drugs. Chael Sonnen yesterday failed a drug test. The NSAC, the Nevada State Athletic Commission, announced that Chael Sonnen popped positive for 2 banned substances. One, an estrogen suppressor.
There were 3, but he got busted 2. Yeah.
Well, what? You got all the facts? Let me pull it up.
Yep. But you know what? Everybody knows the best part about this is the man in the glass house thing. You know.
Because he was mocking Wanderlei Silva for...
Wanderlei took off like a raped ape or whatever the phrase is. He ran out of there. Oh, why don't you try? Oh, we knew this fight would have happened. Oh, look at him. You're a drug-using hippie. You're Mr. Sonnen. Yes.
Well, you know what I liked? Now, did you get to see Chael's appearance on either the Jay Moore Show or on Fox Sports pregame?
Oh, man. That was State Department-esque.
It was, because his talking points have just percolated throughout the MMA blogosphere. I'm seeing his bullshit on Facebook. I'm seeing it on Twitter. I'm seeing it on Bloody Elbow, on SureDog, MMA.tv. Everywhere I look, people are repeating Chael's nonsense.
Yep.
His non sequiturs, his irrelevancies, these are banned substances. These were banned whether you're on TRT, not on TRT. These are banned whether you want to have a baby or not have a baby. These are banned substances. They were banned last year. They were banned while Chael had his TUE exemption. Banned.
Look. That depends on what your definition of is.
But I thought Chael was a Republican. That's a Slick Willie line.
No, that's right. Okay, he is a Republican. Okay, for him then it would be mistakes were made. Mistakes were made.
And like I loved how he admitted he'd been testing himself at home or in the gym and thought he was clean, or thought he was clean for one of them but not the other in one other statement. And I'm like, who tests themselves at home? You know who tests themselves at home, Eugene? Cheaters. That's who tests themselves at home. I mean, who are you kidding me? That's why
maybe his wife is going to do a surprise drug test on the way from the kitchen to the den. You know, maybe he's in his home office trying to, feloniously fleece people from the real estate value. Who knows what he's doing at home, But listen, in literary terms, we call this foreshadowing. Foreshadowing. When he starts telling you, my life is going to be worse without this stuff, I mean, you got to see this coming. And Dana White's, exculpatory support for this, you just can't stop this stuff cold turkey. Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. If you're a friend of depression, if you're a friend of rapid mood swings, if you're a friend of sexual dysfunction, you can stop it cold turkey. You know, guy wants to keep his quality of life, or you want to keep your job. You choose. You know, and the thing is, if you stop it cold turkey, which some people I know might have done, all of those things that you'll be party to will only last at most 2 or 3 weeks. You have to have the intestinal fortitude to ride it through. What is your wife going to divorce you because you can't get it up a few times in a row? Come on, you know.
She might. And doesn't Viagra? I mean, wouldn't Viagra just handle that? Like, I mean.
Well, you know, my reference point is pre-Viagra, so Viagra. So I don't know, but in any case, you know, if he's a married guy, he's only having sex once a year anyway. So who cares, you know?
He's trying to have a baby, he says. Trying to have a baby, and now his wife's pregnant. That's the good news. Don't you love the way Chael's spin was so much better than Dana's?
Yeah.
Like, Dana had 3 points he wanted to make, made him, and got crankier each time he said them because he knew they were bullshit. Even saying the whole 5 fighters out of 500, when there's at least 9 UFC fighters that we've known of that got TUEs for TRT. Chael, however, didn't lie. He just said stuff that actually doesn't make any sense if you apply logical frame to it.
Let me step in there for 1 second. What you're talking, these are not, TRT stands for testosterone replacement therapy, and these drugs are, I should put this in a little bit of perspective. These drugs, these 3, he was only busted for 2. We're talking about human chorionic gonadotropin, Clomid, which is clomiphene, and
Lestrozole.
Yeah, but which in the olden days there was a Novadex. These are things that you would typically buy.
But now why was it they only reported him for 2 and he's talking about using 3? The third one, what's the HGCH or
HCG?
HCG.
Human chorionic gonadotropin. Yeah.
Why was that not mentioned in the test results? And is it not a banned substance? Was Chael just throwing that out there as a smokescreen?
I don't know. You know, my one single guess, and I don't profess to know what the hell is going on in his head, is that if you do cursory research of one of the interesting things that HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, it's made tastily enough from the urine of pregnant women.
Now there's a niche market.
So maybe the hope is that, you know, all the internet people with access to Wikipedia would look it up and go, how would something made from the urine of pregnant women possibly aid him in the cage? And I don't know why it wouldn't have been mentioned, except maybe he's trying to say, well, full disclosure, you know, I'm honest beyond all measure because I'm telling you what a scumbag I am. I don't know. But the thing is, I guess the reality of it is to not know that this was going to come up was crazy. I mean, like I said, this is
well, that's why he'd been drug tested at home. He thought he was ready to pass it, but then he had to take his hat off to the USADA for having the best test in the world. Like Chael was bragging about like how good the tests were. It was like Dillinger talking about these FBI guys are the best ambush agents in the world. Look, they whacked me. I mean,
yeah, I know. Well, look. Okay, so walking around right now, everybody listening, man. You have some sort of pre-existing ratio of testosterone to estrogen in your system. Women have testosterone, men have estrogen. It's probably like this, unless you find yourself listening to a lot of the Indigo Girls and Matthew Sweet, in which case it could be like this. So you let's say my right hand is testosterone. You start taking steroids, and your natural testosterone levels drop. Right? He says, okay, TRT. Out of the UFC, so he stops taking exogenous, introduced from the outside testosterone. His natural testosterone levels are here. His testes are small; they're not producing. Typically, a guy if you have an 8-week cycle, in week 5 will move in Novadex, which a lot of times it's an estrogen antagonist. It keeps it from if you're using decadurablin, it keeps it from binding to estrogen esters and turning into something,
And that's why you want to prevent gynecomastia, right?
Gynecomastia, of course, because it's a visual tip-off, too, the puffiness under the nipples. If you want to be a completist, he could go have certain bullshit his doctors say, I think I have breast cancer. You've never lived until you've gone in to have a mammogram as a man. That was a great experience, I've heard. from a friend, only guy in the waiting room, you know. And then they do surgery and they remove all the glands. And then you can do as many steroids as you want because nobody has to tell. So now he's got no testosterone naturally produced, no externally, and your life really is terrible. You're for at least a couple of weeks, you're depressed. I was crying at TV commercials. You know, that if you remember that Bill Murray movie Scrooge at the end when they're singing "Bring a Little Love in Your Heart," I'm like, man, that's so fucking touching. That guy. Yeah.
Oh, that's pathetic.
And if I gave the times I walked into guys' houses, at least 2 or 3 times, I had to pull guns out of their mouths because they were so depressed during this period. And it wasn't that they didn't know it was coming. It was that there was such a scarcity and it was so hard to get this stuff. You didn't want to wait to start your cycle. And you figured, well, when I get to week 5, I'll be able to get it. Clomid, which he had, the one hit against Clomid was that it hurt at the injection site. Also made from some kind of urine, women, ester thing, who knows. And this new one that I think he has is probably a replacement for that. But it's all designed to okay, so your testosterone levels here, it's all designed to somehow antagonize estrogen so that you can maybe get the levels closer to normal and also force your testes to go, oh shit, there's estrogen in your system, we have to crank it up and maybe, I mean, trying to get the pendulum back to its half and half is tough, but you know what, you're going to have to take a few months to suck. That's it, you know, and he didn't and couldn't wait, and it's a psycho monograph of a guy who's got drug problems, you know. This is a guy, I mean, okay, I'm an older fighter. Man, you like the way it feels, you know. And the reality of it is, if you've done it enough times, you know something. I can tell you guys who haven't, you actually don't need it. You actually don't need it, you know. When I got so angry at one point, I remember at the down part of the cycle, so you have your cycle go up, and then you taper off gently. And as you taper off gently, you can get the levels to meet, so you don't have 3 weeks of sexual dysfunction and depression and out of control emotionalism, where you can just kind of, if you have a cycle that goes way up and then way down, and the only reason you would do that is because you either ran out or you were hoping to peak at the time when you had your fight and you think this animal aggression that I get will help me. And you're wrong, you know. Technique will help you. And if technique is not going to help you, nothing will help you, you know?
Says the man in the purple belt, which
Correct.
Speaks to his master technique. Now, the other relevancy Chael was bringing up and pounding on was this was out of competition. This, of course, it's banned in competition, but I'm out of competition. The deal is, if you apply for a license to fight in Nevada, you willingly accept that you will be tested in and out of competition, because frankly, competition is 1 to 4 days a year for MMA fighters.
Yep.
And so the deal is not, hey, I can roid all I want 361 days a year. Which Dana White practically said, or did say the other week, I don't care what they do out of competition. Well, the commission cares,
Yep.
And we've got these rules. Now, whether or not the rules are what they need to be is a different discussion. Personally, I'm for steroids. Let them use it. They're already subjecting themselves to all kinds of brain trauma. Why not some steroids? But with the full disclosure of what they're doing, and no painkillers and no methamphetamine and stuff like that. I don't want people taking ketamine, PCP.
Whoa. I didn't realize all that was in there.
You're going to speak up for ketamine now? First you're defending Phil Anselmo on Facebook, and now you're pro-ketamine?
Oh, you. This was some weird regionalism thing. It was like a dog.
Regionalism? Dimebag Darrell was the best metal guitar player of his generation.
This was a dog whistle thing, man. I had no idea.
Dimebag is dead, man. Dimebag is dead.
Yeah, but you're creating a situation where Phil Anselmo will soon be dead by blaming it for something that
Anselmo created the situation, not me. You saying I have so much influence I'm going to kill the mighty Phil Anselmo?
He didn't say, go and shoot Dimebag Darrell.
Created a hostile environment, Eugene, a hostile environment.
Anybody in a band knows it's a hostile environment.
But you keep band business in the van, Eugene. You keep band business in the van.
Maybe. I mean, Keith Richards didn't do it.
Well, Keith Richards had Brian Jones killed, allegedly. Allegedly. I didn't even say that, but the guy who allegedly...
And this is the guy, the guy who was telling me that Hitler did not escape by submarine.
Hey, I got a caveat. I thought that the Soviets had the corpse, but it turns out, and I hadn't kept up, that 4 or 5 years ago the DNA evidence said, nope, that's not the skeleton.
Yep.
And it looks like Stalin was very interested in looking for Hitler.
Yep. Yeah, of course. It would have been a big coup for him because it would have slowed the flow of Nazi scientists into the U.S., which they were leaps and bounds. I was in some girl's room.
Dr. Werner von Braun, the Nazi rocket scientist.
Yep. V1, man. I was in this girl's bedroom once, and she was Japanese American. And I look on the wall, and I go, "Hey, what's the deal with the Nazis?" And she goes, "We had photos on her wall." She goes, "Well, that's my father, and the SS man is my uncle." I'm like, "Whoa, your mother's Japanese?" "Yeah." "Oh, my father was German." She goes, "Yeah, he actually lived in this apartment. Actually, he died 10 years ago today. Actually, he died in this apartment 10 years ago today in this bed." And as you might imagine, sexy or no sexy, I said, "You know what? I gotta go."
Ghost of Nazi Daddy was too much for you, huh?
It was too heavy for me. I said, "How did he come to be in New York in the 50s?" She goes, "We never talked about it." So,
don't ask, don't tell.
So Stalin had a great reason to out Hitler as still being alive, and the U.S. had a very specific, happy reason to. And if you remember, a lot of the Israeli gangs that were fighting for British Palestine had made common cause with the rat lines of Nazis escaping to figure out how to fight the Brits. So you had this strange bedfellows thing of former Nazis helping Israelis fight for the existence of the state of Israel, which was one of their earlier plans, if you remember, was going to have the chosen people go to Madagascar, you know. So
yep. There was some big plans for that, but then they did the profit loss thing on concentration camps, and suddenly Treblinka looked like a pretty good idea. But anyway, disgusting topic. But we do need to talk a little bit about UFC 174. Any final thoughts on the Chael fiasco?
The best part about this thing is like much like the Monica Lewinsky thing, which I think Clinton dealt with much more deftly than Reagan ever dealt with Iran-Contra Gate. But it's watching a master at work. You know, it really is watching a guy, you know, who's written a check with his mouth that he can cash. You know.
I was watching Chael yesterday, and I worked in politics for 10 years. I worked in corporate communications, and no, I'm not a junkie. I had a blood test today. I've worked with people who work for Clinton. Exactly, perfectly legal. I worked for people. I worked for Clinton's deputy communications director, Jeff Eller. I worked with Paul Begala. I worked with Mark McKinnon and Matthew Dowd, who went on to work with George Bush. I worked for Mark Warner, John Kerry, et cetera, et cetera. And I was in awe of Chael's spin yesterday. Yep. That cat is on his game. He is smooth. He's believable. I mean, he can say complete, patent, absurd nonsense and non sequiturs with a straight face, more and more emphatic as he goes on. He wasn't hysterical. Dana was angry and irrational and not making good points, and the longer Dana talked, the worse it got for him. Yep. And outright lying or saying lying it's not acceptable to say he was lying. He was saying things that weren't true, and I'm pretty sure he knew they weren't true. And so Chael, on the other hand, he had his 3 talking points, and they were just getting like comfy slippers the longer he was on that show. It was like, you know, and then the host, the poor host, man, it was like watching, remember Jeff Gannon, that stealth gay Republican activist guy who got snuck into the press room during the Ari Fleischer and Scott McClellan years? That's what the Fox Sports 1 guy was like. I mean, he was just lobbing softballs, practically apologizing for bringing the topic up. It was a strange performance.
I mean, the reality of it is, I think, you know, anybody who's been in a relationship at all, I think it's your partner doesn't. In this case, we are the partner. Your partner doesn't so much mind being lied to, as nobody likes being made a fool of. So if Chael, you know, his lies are so sweet that, you know, you feel like, you know, he's actually okay, you know, I know he's lying, but I mean, he's making an effort. You know, he showed up with the flowers. He's got on the Barry White music.
He came clean on a number of points, none of which had to do anything with the accusations.
You know,
but he
I have double parked. It's true. I've double parked.
And jaywalked. I've been jaywalking all day, and I'm very sorry about it. Won't happen again.
How many times do you want me to apologize? I tore the tag off the couch. I did this. Yes, I did. You know, I mean, what's most amazing to me is that a guy who's hormonally labeled at this point, L-A-B-I-L-E, sorry, not L-A-B-E-L.
Very slick vocabulary.
Yeah, he didn't lose his temper. You know, I mean, at a
No.
certain point, I'd have been like, what do you want from me?
Well, I wonder where Dana is in his cycle, because he seemed a lot crabbier about the
Yeah.
whole thing. Of course, Dana's the one that just lost, a big fight, and this is a fight they've had to jump through hoops. One last topic on the UFC
Well,
174.
I tell you, it does preserve.
Uh,
It does preserve. Huh?
yeah, go ahead.
It does preserve Silva Sonnen.
It does, but do they even want Silva Sonnen? I mean, they can have another bite at Silva Sonnen, or they can do Sonnen Belfort, or get Belfort into the title hunt. I mean, they got a lot of options now.
Yep. Yeah,
But they don't have Sonnen on the UFC 175 card, which they really needed to bring it into the really special
Yep.
realm. So, but speaking of not special, boy, does this piss all over any hype for UFC 174. So let's rush through a care, don't care. Give us a disclaimer.
As evidenced by the fact that we're 20 minutes in and we haven't mentioned it, except to mention it that we're going to mention it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So give us a disclaimer, Dr. Science.
Look, increasingly more, we're going to change this disclaimer because a lot of these don't cares have been fights that you guys have shown up for. So what this means is that the organization behind you has done fuck all to let us know that this is something we should pay attention to. So it's all up to you. No disrespect intended to the fighters, but you got to turn up and show up, you know, not just
and
show up
talk up like Conor McGregor. Let Conor McGregor and Chael Sonnen be your guideposts. These guys.
Except you know what? I'm losing the taste for that myself, man.
Conor McGregor?
You know, not Conor McGregor.
Is this some kind of anti-Irish thing?
No, I'm losing my taste for the Reebok. You know, I'm losing. Like, there were a couple of fights this past weekend where the guys came out. When they ran around the cage, they nodded and, you know, shook hands with their opponent. It's like, man, we're co-workers, you know, and we're creating something, you know, maybe of not lasting value to the rest of the world, but of lasting value to us. You know, what is that old commercial slogan? If I don't look good, if we don't look good, you don't look good. You know,
Yep.
So I mean, I'm trying to beat your head in, but you know, in very rare cases, do not prostitute hostile feelings. You know, I mean,
I'm not saying that's the only way to go. I'm just saying that talk and conflict is essential to storytelling. Like, even if you don't have to make your opponent in this fight the object of your conflict, but you need to create some conflict and create some drama. Could be being mad at the UFC, could be being mad at the state you're visiting, whatever. You know, find a conflict.
What you've just said is set the groundwork for terrible contrivance. You know, it's like
terrible contrivance.
It may be that if it happens, it happens. But you know, trying to hunt around for how am I gonna gin this up? You know what? You don't have to gin it up, man. You know what gins it up? The fact that I'm the greatest fighter this world has ever seen.
Well, there you go. That's Muhammad Ali was me against the world. It wasn't so much me against, you know, this or that guy. I mean,
but you know, how many did you see in boxing like that before him? You got to go back to Jack Johnson, you know. And
yes.
how many did you see like that after him? You got to go to Mayweather, maybe.
Maybe Mayweather. I don't know. I think Hagler and Leonard and those guys they
did so unconvincingly.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get to the fight card. Real quick, this is the UFC 174 pay-per-view card on Saturday night. First two fights are on Fight Pass. Lightweights, Jason Sago and Josh Shockley.
I don't care.
No, I don't care either. Sorry, guys. Bantamweights, Roland Delorme versus Michinori Tanaka.
I care.
Because?
Delorme sticks in my head for some reason. What's his record? Tell me.
It's not as sexually good. He sticks in my name too, mostly because I've not enjoyed his fights particularly. He's kind of vaguely French, good grappler. He lost to Bruce Leroy.
Did you say vaguely French?
I meant Quebecois. Sorry, there's nothing vaguely Quebecois. So he lost to Bruce Leroy, aka Alex Caceres, in his last fight.
That's right.
He beat Edwin Figueroa. He had a no contest with Francisco Rivera that was overturned with a drug test loss, and he had 2 wins over Nick Denise and Josh Ferguson. So he's been there for a while. So we're beginning to become familiar with him. You know, so
I mean, my care was based on familiarity, not that if somebody says, "Oh, Delorme couldn't fight," I'd be like, "Oh, why?" I don't, you know.
Yeah, and Tanaka, I think
that's a lukewarm care if ever there was one.
Yeah, and so I'm a Japanophile, so at least as far as fight goes, not as far as wartime atrocities and comfort women, etc. But I'm rooting for Tanaka.
That was a propaganda.
Exactly. Those damn Koreans are always slandering the Japanese. All right, let's move to the FS1 preliminary card. Cajun.
Fox Sports 5, Force 1, 5 on.
Yes, Wikipedia says this is on FX, but I'm contract. Oh wait, no, this one is on FX. How weird. What is the deal with that? It's on FX.
The fact that we don't know means that there's everything wrong about it.
That is screwed up. This card is on FX. What the hell? That makes no sense. I'm presuming that there's basketball or something. Not even basketball. They don't have the playoffs on FS1. I don't know. There's something preempting it on FS1. Anyway, so it's on FX. Lightweights, Cajun Johnson and Tai Young Bang. I'm going to double check that in UFC.com. Any cares on that?
No.
No. All right, me neither. Bantamweights, Yves Jaboun versus Mike Easton.
Yes.
Yes, and you care because?
Both Easton and Jaboun have fought fights that have come to my notice, and Easton especially.
We had a server error. Are you back, Eugene?
You there?
Yes, we're here. Google had a server error. They even admitted it was their fault. That's never happened before. So thank you, Google, for that, I guess. Anyway, so back to Jaboun and Mike Easton.
Easton, who is that? He reminds me of that cat who had the savage fucking knee to the forehead, and it was opened up a gash that everybody turned into a GIF. Where the gash was talking.
Are you thinking about Marvin Eastman with Vitor Belfort way back in the day?
Yes. Yeah. Good for you, man. That's the kind of recall. I couldn't remember Paul Daly's name.
Back when I cared, man, I remembered my shit, but they've drowned my concern.
Oh yeah, things go to hell. I remember old guys when I was a kid. What the fuck is that guy's problem? But in any case, yeah. So I've taken note. I've liked Mike Easton, and of course he makes me think of Marvin Eastman.
Yes.
So there's a mnemonic familiarity, and their last few fights are fights that both he and Jaboun that I paid attention to. In any case, I think that these guys are battling for the thing that people most battle for when they battle in the UFC, and that's one, continued employment, and two, some sort of notice, so that we don't have to kind of go, yeah, I kind of remember that guy. Hey, Jaboun, didn't you used to be that guy? Easton. Yeah, I remember. That's got to be a drag of a feeling. How long do you think you have to be at a club where you have to tell a girl, yeah, I fight in the UFC? Well, no, not really for a few years. No, I'm
a UFC fighter.
But I'm a you. No, you would have seen me on that card with you on TV. Well, no, it was like Fox Sports Force 514. But you know, who wants to do that, man? 15 minutes
it's no
shaking
fun.
out your resume at the club. So.
And we got Easton, who's 0-3 in his last three, and Jaboun, who's 1-2 in his last three. So this could be it for
Fighting
Easton.
For significance is what I'm saying.
Fighting for survival in the UFC. And Easton is a guy I've followed. I've met him a few times in D.C. when I lived there, and he was fighting in Virginia. Sweet kid, really likable kid. Mixed up with Lloyd Irvin, which I have obviously some
That's right.
concerns about, and I don't think it's the best for Easton. He used to get to train with Alliance Gym and a bunch of other gyms, but since Lloyd Irvin's reputation has taken some hits, they don't cross-pollinate as much, and I don't think he's getting the coaching from Irvin that he was getting when he was with other places. So, rooting for Mike here, but
that was State Department-esque if I had it. Some bumps.
Thank you. I too can spin, and don't really want to pick the Irvin scab this morning, but I could if I wanted to. So
that'll take us down a whole another rat hole.
A whole another rabbit trail. Women's bantamweight: Valerie Letourneau versus Elizabeth Phillips.
Sorry, don't care.
Yeah,
I'm a big women's MMA booster, but you can push.
Father of 3 daughters, as you wrote about on Aussie.com this morning.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, my Father's Day tribute to my daughters. First time I've ever written about having daughters, so having kids. Period.
So you're pretty desperate for some clicks for Father's Day, huh?
Nah. Well, actually, no. It was more motivated by I want to beat the deluge of bullshit for people talking about fatherhood in a way that doesn't reflect any of the real. Man suddenly turns to stumbling, stuttering, muttering, inarticulate morons when it comes to defending their birthright. I mean, if I hear another guy say, "Oh, I was babysitting," whoa, these are your kids, right?
What's wrong with babysitting? What am I supposed to say? I'm fathering? Sorry, I can't go out. I'm fathering right now.
Yep.
But I'm not
Fathering,
bothered. I'm
baby.
playing on my computer and vaguely keeping an eye on the baby as she toddles around in the background. I mean.
If that's your fathering style, so be it, man.
My brother told me, and this was good advice. He says, screw
If your
quality
brother
time.
your brother comes over, he's babysitting.
Yeah. But he says it's all about quantity time. He says, fuck quality time. Like, just be around a lot.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I think,
agree.
I think
Except my father was around a lot, and he's a piece of shit.
there's being around a lot, and then there's being around a lot. You know, if Dad's home drunk 24/7, that's probably not like.
My
I'm not saying your dad, but just saying, hey, Dad.
he was busy getting his PhD, but he would every now and then he would turn and look at me and go, eh, and then go back to studying.
The old workaholic dad,
Yeah,
which maybe you can be proud of in the abstract when he accomplishes something else, but not always there for you when you need it. Anyway.
You know, what was noteworthy about that piece is that I did not talk about my incredible wellspring of dysfunction in regards to my own father. So that was, I got through like 1,000 words without mentioning that nest of vipers.
Huzzahs to you, Eugene. All right, so last fight on the FX preliminary card, welterweights Daniel Serafian and Kichi Kunimoto.
Yes, okay.
Yes, because?
Serafian, and then I started to have some thoughts about Japanese MMA.
Oh, yeah? Let's hear.
Yeah, that based on somebody started talking about World War II again, and they said, do you think that if the two-pronged attack that Stalin was worried about, with the Japanese coming over through the Sakhalin Islands and attacking, it would have made a difference in terms of the war? And I started to think, you know, what Dana's done, what I call the Russian play, was actually pretty clever. Might there be a way back? Might we see some kind of MO there for Japanese fighters to make their way back? But I started to think, you know what? Russia is huge. You know, the whole Dagestani connection or Dagestanian connection or whatever it is. That was a good move, but it wasn't a genius move. You know, it was a good move, not a genius move. And you're not going to have that same length and breadth of landmass that you have in Russia and Japan. So it's not like you can go to some far-flung locale and this undiscovered store of great Japanese fighters. So I keep waiting for the Japanese gyre to turn, but I don't know.
I don't know if it will. I think it's got to do with demographic issues. Japan's becoming the oldest population in the history of the world. Its economy, it seems to be in permanent free fall. And although they're individually doing better than we are here in America, their exports are plummeting. And also culturally, this younger generation of Japanese males, from what I've been reading, I'm again not a Japanese expert, not hip to what's really going on, but the problem I get from the American media secondhand is very low marriage rates, lots of kids staying in their basement, interacting with, robots. Macho is out, violence is out.
But you know what? But also, one thing I noticed that I've been there 5, 6, 7 times. The Japanese men sort of treat their women like garbage, man. And the guys that sponsored me the first time I went over, we go to a restaurant and they're like screaming at the waitress. I was like, hey, she's gonna end up spitting in my food. He goes, no, this is just these are really mild-mannered, soft-spoken guys, but they went to a restaurant, they became tojo, And then months after I came back, I was like, well, maybe that's how this lay of the land. The waitress didn't seem to be that happy with it, but maybe, and there was some waitress who was arrested because she had been pissing in people's noodle soup, and she gave it as an explanation. She goes, they treat me like garbage. So, I was coming out of a shopping center. I held the door open. I was in a line of these guys, and one of the guys walked through, and there was this door slam in some old woman's face. I was like, man. And I went through the door, and I held the door, and the woman looked at me like, what just happened? What just happened? So, there's a reason why American guys go up there, and they like, all of a sudden, they're Hugh Hefner,
Yeah, I think that's a key point. Japanese women are getting better educated, getting more working opportunities, and they're like, why am I signing up to be this asshole slave and punching bag? Fuck that.
Right.
And if you've ever seen much Japanese porn, it's not the female performers that are letting it down. Like, I'll tell you, it's so that might be the most racist thing I've ever said on the air, but I'll stand by it. Like, it's just this.
You just took a couple of 100-foot cliff leaps.
I know, bounded and then landed on the rock, and I mean.
And Japanese porn, all the Japanese porn that I've watched. Okay. All right.
Anyway, I get what's going on culturally there, at least secondhand. Plus, don't underestimate the impact of the Yakuza scandals with the Pride collapse, and even worse, the Yakuza scandals in sumo, which sullied all combat sports, because sumo had a golden reputation, a cultural touchstone in Japan, and took a big knock because they were mixed up in some corrupt, shady crap too.
Also, I'd like to say, anybody watching the show who has connections in the sumo world, could they please send me an email, ox_bo@hotmail.com. I need sumo world connections. I need some help. I need some information. Please.
Working on a story. I've been asking my grappling guys on your behalf. They say troll the Sherdog grappling forums. There's some guys with sumo connections there.
Okay. All right.
If you have time to get over there in your busy schedule. Anyway, so we kind of care about Serafian versus Kunimoto because at least I'm rooting for Kunimoto and Japanese MMA. Light heavyweights. Now we're on to the main card. Now remember, each one of these fights is like $11. So when you evaluate them, think, is this worth $11? Light heavyweight, Ryan Jimmo and Ovince St. Preux. You remember these guys. A couple of years ago, you could see them for free on AXS TV or Strikeforce Challengers. But now you're paying $11 for it. How do you feel?
Well, I'm interested in OSP. I'm interested in him. I mean, because he seems to be...
He's gictish, man. He's gictish.
Yeah.
That means guy I can't trust. That's Eugene's formulation.
Except is he a guy I can't trust anymore? Is he a gicta?
Now, we were discussing this on our show, and some of the commenters were parsing your wisdom for us and saying we were misinterpreting it. Is gict like a state that can be recovered from, and gicta is a permanent ban, like condemnation? Is it a progression from gict to gicta?
Yeah. Okay. Gicta, there are no trains. Gicta is like Auschwitz. There are no trains back. There are no trains back from Gicta, man. No trains that are full back from Gicta. Once you're there, you can't.
Yeah, you would
have to reel off a steady string of wins, and then even if you do that, you know that we're secretly thinking that you're just setting us up for that Charlie Brown.
It's Vitor Belfort. Then you're Vitor Belfort on the hot streak. Then you're old Vitor again. All right, so you care about Ovince St. Preux, but what about Ryan Jimmo?
Same with Ryan Jimmo.
The robot.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, again, I think Sean Shelby, whose name I remember now. What a difference!
Yes, after infamously getting it wrong on Knuckle Up this week.
Calling him Keith. Well, I was thinking about the guy who did that job at Strikeforce, Joe Henderson, whatever, Bob Johnson, whatever his name was. But I think that what they've hit on, what Sean Shelby and Joe Silva have hit on, is like desperate guys fight better.
That's a cynical theory.
I mean, if you want some guys who are going to tear down the house, you don't go 1 through 3. You know how many fights GSP fight that you just go, man. And there were even traces of that. Okay, he had his hand broken. There were even traces of that in the Hendricks last fight. We just kind of go, I think I'll get hey, could you pour me a glass of wine? Something just you take you off. But, you want some action. You talk to the guys who are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These guys are fighting to beat for 6. I mean, case in point, freaking Dillashaw.
Yeah, the guy came through hungry for some cake. Did you see the Team Alpha Male cake they had to celebrate?
You know what? Under every rock. Why does it always have to go to penis and semen?
I don't know, but that seems to be like something they enjoy putting on their cake at Team Alpha Male. Depictions thereof. Which, of course, like the swastika, the human penis has a wide, long, proud history.
A long, hard history.
And sometimes a short, dangling, flaccid history. Most times just flaccid, minding his own business in his undies, just getting his nap on. But it comes out for a big show a couple times.
A friend of mine, a sports agent, said, "Hey, you got to come to my girlfriend's birthday. We're really going to do it up." I go, "Oh, great." He goes, "Yeah, I got a picture cake, where they do the make the drawing on the cake with the frosting." I go, "Oh, what did you get on it? Did you get, you two holding hands, you two?" He said, No, I got a woman getting triple teamed, covered in loads." And I was like, "You're a funny guy." So it's at Buca de Beppo, and they they bring out the cake and they're doing that whole thing with all the wait staff gathers around, they're singing, and they pull the top off the cake, and that's exactly what he had put on the cake.
Oh
I
my
took
God.
I took a photograph of it, and it was like a moment where they take the top off, and everybody at the table kind of goes,
Was this one of those parties where it's like the dude, his wife, 9 guys, and maybe one other chick, or?
Yeah, sort of. If I remember
That's
correctly,
creepy.
if I remember, it was Jake Shields was there with his date. Colleen Schneider was there with her boyfriend at the time. So there, Dan Marks. There were a few fighters with their girlfriends, but it was like mostly his friends and not her.
And so was it like every guy was? So how do you know the couple? Oh, I met him at the club. Anyway, God bless you. Whatever floats your boat.
What club?
Exactly. It's a private invitation-only club, on-premise club. We call it on-premise club. Anyway, Anyway, whatever floats your boat, folks. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. All right. So we kind of come on. I mean, you can't give a full-on endorsement of Ryan Jimmo and OSP though as a pay-per-view fight.
Why not? Why not?
I mean, you can say you care, but really, a year ago you were saying, "Oh boy, I can't wait to pay money to see these guys fight."
No. Really, what's been happening, and I don't know. It's like the movement of a glacier. I don't know if you've been able to see it, but what's been happening is that a lot of the stuff that we've called as don't cares have been barn burners, man. And I'm not so quick to say. It's not like these guys are listening to the show, but I'm a little bit more measured with the don't cares because I'm seeing the underlying pattern. The underlying pattern very much addresses desperate guys fight better.
I see. So Eugene is in favor of the starving man on the desert island model of MMA that believed that what was the guy it wasn't Milos Forman, it was the guy that wrote Conan that came up with the idea for the octagon. John, he wrote Apocalypse Now. Come on.
Milius. John Milius.
John Milius. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so now let's get to a fight. Heavyweights, Andrei Arlovski versus Brendan Schaub.
Oh, of course, I care about this.
Of course you care, but of course I do. But again, I'm like, this is on pay-per-view, really? In 2014, like they dredged up Andrei Arlovski, who hasn't even got a win streak going. Like, I mean, he's got a pretty good win-loss ratio in his last few fights, but he honestly doesn't have, like most guys, at least have 2. He's got 2 straight wins, but before that was a loss. You know, I mean, admittedly, he's won 6 out of his last 8 fights, and that one no contest should have been a win because he was beating Tim Sylvia, and the rules were kind of ambiguous. And he lost to Anthony Johnson. No shame in that. What are you doing there?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to guarantee that we have a continued show because I got to plug in the power cord.
Ah, yes. Plug in the power cord. Your purple belt can't just charge the computer? I thought maybe if you wrapped that purple belt around it, it would just...
the magnetic coils, the power it produces. Yeah.
I think somebody told me you don't need TRT anymore because of that purple belt. That you just.
Actually, I'm wearing a new gi that one of my teammates bought me. It's really cool. It's a New York brand, so you can see Brooklyn. Brooklyn's in the house.
All right. Very nice.
Anyway. What was your question? I'm doing a Sid Vicious.
We're talking about Arlovski and Brendan Schaub. Don't do a Sid Vicious and have your mother OD you here.
No, I don't think Arlovski is past it. I think he's or rather, I think he's a name from the past that people, have, it's like Facebook has sort of done away with this, but in the old days, when you got a phone call from like an ex-girlfriend,
you just frame your face is getting cropped off.
You said, I got a call from Julie, and then you'd be like, next thing you know, you'd be making a date to meet her for sandwiches or tea or coffee or something, and then halfway driving there, you remember, wait a minute, I never liked Julie that much. What the hell am I doing? With Facebook keeps you from making any dreaded errors like that because you can see that this person has turned into something less than desirable. But with Arlovski, it's the same thing, man. We kind of forget. We remember the Dracula teeth. We remember Fedor's spectacular jumping in the air, spinning knockout of him. The guy's fought a whole bunch of engagements. We forget, the whole pee-pee line, how my pee-pee tastes.
How tastes my pee-pee.
How tastes my pee-pee. And the guy's a legend, you want to see him again. Is he, and he knows this. You think he thinks he's got more than one chance to show up? You know.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think this was a defensive signing. I think they signed him like the minute they heard Bellator got 100,000 buys on their pay-per-view. They were like, "Oh, we better sign up everybody that's got any name value at all."
And Tim Sylvia is at home going like, "Huh? What?" I guess it just buzzed. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh no.
Yeah, it's kind of tempting to, like you should, like somebody could get a number and register it to UFC, Ultimate Fondue contest, and just call Tim Sylvia all the time and just make
that would be cool. I'm gonna tell you, so even though he swooped on me and kept me from making hot love to Amber, one of the former ring girls, I still have sympathy for the guy, mostly because from what I've understood, where his family's consistent and aggressive lack of support.
Yeah, I do feel for Tim, actually. He's one of the kind of the sadder stories. And not an unlikable guy. He's just an easily mocked guy. Anyway, so we kind of care about that fight, but honestly, it's a little questionable to me, again, that's pay-per-view. Now we're on to light heavyweight, Ryan Bader versus Rafael Fiasco Cavalcante.
Care.
Yeah, I do too. Both these guys, they're kind of on the fringe, not even the fringe of contendership, but just the fringe of relevance in the division.
Also, I'm curious about Ryan Bader's head, man. I have to see if it's ever come back. I don't think he ever sufficiently bounced back from that John Jones thing. But it's been enough time now, and John Jones has, had troubles of his own. So I'm hoping. He's a friend of Knuckle Up, and this is actually a friend of Knuckle Up double over. Cavalcante hasn't been on the show, but he came to Team Sorrel to train, so I feel like he's a known associate. I'm interested in the fight.
I am too. Both of them have had ups and downs. Bader lost to Glover Teixeira, then came back and just put a merciless beating on Anthony the Hippo Peroche, but couldn't finish him, which was also kind of sad. And Fiasco came back from his knockout loss to Thiago Silva by knocking out Igor Pokrayak. So, plus he had the no contest drug test failure with the Mike Kyle fight. So both of these guys are kind of on the comeback trail. Both of them showed a lot of promise when they were younger. Cavalcante, of course, first came to attention because he was Anderson Silva's sparring partner. But now they're both in their mid-30s. This is probably their last. They got to win this one. The desperation should be all over this one, Eugene. If that's
what I'm saying.
That's your kink.
You see, they've got it. They've got it down pat. Desperate guys fight
it's
better.
It's like Meyer Lansky walking to the casino. I smell a lot of desperation tonight. Is that
I can tell you one of the worst things that you talk about Phil and Selma. One of the worst things that some friends of mine had done. They had a bachelor party, and they hired 2 crack whores as entertainment. And at the end at the end of the evening, the women said, "Okay, give us $100." And the guy's like, "Whoa, $100? That's crazy. Why would we give $100 to 2 crack whores?" He said, "You promised us $100." And he said, "Promise nothing. We're not going to pay. Tell you what, we'll give you $40 between the 2 of you if you fight for it."
Oh.
I said, man, these guys told me that story. I go, you guys are going to fucking hell. You're going to hell. And the women, they were crack whores. They fought for the money, and then one of them got the money. But that was like one of the worst things that people I knew. I hesitate to even call them friends at this point, but that people I knew did.
Yeah, that's.
And I need to say very quickly, I was not at this bachelor party.
Eugene would have stepped in and saved the day, ladies. This is
I'm the fly in the ointment, man.
Tear to the punch bowl. And I'm going to tease our next episode of Intrigue because Eugene has promised to read Timothy Snyder's Bloodlands. We're both going to revisit the movie Come See Me.
Yeah, hold on. But when? When do I have to read this thing by?
I'm going to be on vacation for 2 weeks, man. You're a Stanford grad. How long will it take you to read this?
It's like Beavis and Butthead said, if I wanted to do reading, I'd go back to school.
Just see the movie and skim the book, for Christ's sake.
No, I'm a reader. I like to read, so I'll read it. So.
Yeah, read it. So in July,
actually, I had a procedural note. Who's paying for these books?
Okay. If you're going to make a federal case out of it, we'll pay. And you're going to get.
Didn't you buy something for me recently?
I did. I bought all those shirts, and those were expensive too. I barely even got a discount. So I can't believe you got the slurtery, the sheer gall.
No, I'll buy the book. Don't worry.
All right. Anyway,
$8.16 in the bank until the 15th, but I'll buy the book.
Yes. And the reason I wanted to bring it up, though, is because there's a Nazi in there I'd never heard of before who is he's awful, horrible, loathsome scumbag, but man, this cat is a character. Derlevanger, the Derlevanger Battalion, he built a battalion from the scum of German prisons and madhouses and was sent out into Belarus to murder peasants and slaughter villages and stuff. These guys were the absolute bottom of the barrel, dregs of human history that I've ever found, and it is an enjoyable read if you're into black humor and awfulness, because this cat, he would get up and do presentations in front of the German high command and be so shit-faced he would have the country wrong on the map. He's pointing to the map and pointing to the wrong country. I mean, yeah. It's anyway. He got kicked out of the Nazi Party in the mid-30s because he was caught. He wrecked a state car, a government-owned car, with like a 14-year-old girl in the car. He was shit-faced drunk, of course. And he said, hey, I didn't know she was underage. And they were like, well, everybody says you've been picking her up at the junior high school for months. So anyway,
you know what this reminds me of that time that Goering came to the meeting in a turban, a caftan, and made up medals on his chest. He actually made Hitler do a double take, and of course he was high as fuck.
Goering was the opium and morphine king, man. Yeah. That reminds me of the time Brian Jones showed up for a Stones meeting dressed as the Archbishop of Canterbury. That's in the full ceremonial regalia. Yes, and they were out in public, and people were deeply offended that he was marching ahead of them.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Anyway, but that's all a long rambling thing. So we care about Bader and Fajau. Welterweights, Rory McDonald and Tyrone Woodley.
Oh, okay, yeah, I care.
Do you have a pick? Oh, and did you have a pick with the Fajau Bader thing?
That's tough, man.
Because it's a classic wrestler boxer versus Muay Thai Jiu-Jitsu.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Bader. How's that?
Really? I'm gonna go with
mostly because he actually came on the show.
Local is sheer favoritism. And you got to make a pick in Arlovski, Brendan Schaub. Arlovski's denying that either man has a glass jaw.
I'm going to go with Schaub on this one.
Schaub's been fighting smart.
Which feels really strange for me to say, but that's what I'm going to do.
Overall, cosmically, I don't think Schaub's ever going to match what Arlovski's already accomplished, but I think he's going to beat him on Saturday. And let's go for a pick in the Jimmo OSP fight.
OSP.
Because that's racist. You're just picking him because he's black.
Whatever.
That's right. Own it. Well, I'm going to pick Jim because he's Canadian. How about that?
What was that thing when I was a kid? They used a little Brooklyn street chant. A fight, a black and a white. If the black don't win, we all jump in.
Come on. Hey, reverse racism. That's what's made Jim Goad such a racist, is that kind of behavior.
Well, this was Brooklyn in 1971, man. Black power, baby.
Yes, indeed. And the subsequent backlash has set everybody in the country.
Has lasted 35 fucking years.
It's the classic riot from Jello Biafra, as I often say. Tomorrow you're homeless. Tonight it's a gas. So
Jello Biafra, who was too busy to be interviewed by me.
Oh man, you don't forgive a grudge, do you? You weren't involved in the beating that left him a broken man, were you?
No. Jello and I have had a weird relationship over the years, you know. And even though the cock assist he gave me backstage at the some show I saw.
Did you just say he gave you a cock assist?
Yeah, don't you know what a cock assist is?
I do not. I'm dying to know.
A cock assist is the opposite of a cock block.
We call that the landing path glide-in.
Well, whatever, Jack. I call it a cock assist. Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's the assist like soccer or basketball.
Yeah, I got it. So, you know, he's like talking to. I've told you this story already. I'm surprised you haven't done a Shalala. He's talking to some girl. And he goes, and he's backstage, and I'm ignoring him because that's what I do. You know, at this point, I'm done with that guy. And he goes, and this is Eugene Robinson, one of the best singers around. And the girl looks at me, and I look at her, and she goes, I know. And I go, oh, well, I'm, you know, what's your name? She goes, actually, we played with you. And I was like, and she goes, yeah, we played support for you in 2 shows in Austin at South by Southwest. I was like, yeah, no, we haven't played South by Southwest for a long time, but, you know.
This is in the past 10 years.
Yeah, we played it 8 years in a row, and then we haven't played it for like the last 5. So we're talking about, it could have been any time. I'd be the last to know. 13
years ago, a lot of plausible deniability there.
Yeah, I got it. And she's like, you know, and the name of her band was TITS. It was an acronym for something. All indicators are that I should have remembered not only her, but her band, but the shows. And I just drew a blank. So despite the cock assist, I was like, all right, I gotta go. You know.
See, so it's not a true cock assist if no goal is scored, Eugene.
Yes, it is. I mean, he didn't have to do that. He could have said, oh, there's my friend Eugene. Terrible about that HIV.
Well, that was mighty nice of him. Anyway, so McDonald, Woodley, do you have a pick?
Ah, man, this is tough. I do not trust McDonald anymore.
I don't either. Is he a gicked though, or just a gicked?
No, he's just a gick. He's just the guy I can't trust. I don't know where.
I used to think that gicked was like the lesser thing, meaning that you used to trust the guy, and now you can't quite trust him, but that a gicked was damned for all time. But it's the other way around.
It's the other way around. Gicked is just, you know, a gicked is a friend that you say, hey man, let's meet at 7, and the guy shows up at 9 with no explanation as to what fucking happened. That's a gift, you know. A gifter is a guy who you catch in your house screwing your woman. That's a gifter.
There you go. Unless you're like your friend with the cake, and then you're like, hey, what did you tell me so I can bring my camera?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Hot diggity dog.
Yeah, who's that? Is it Bernie Mac that had the bit, the late great Bernie Mac that had the bit about his wife threatening to bring a younger man in to sleep with him, and sleep with her, and he was like, "Go ahead, I'll watch and check off." And he was like, "The bitch is complaining about my lovemaking. 3 minutes, that's a heavyweight championship round. I'm a heavyweight."
That's great. And you know they've done studies. They say the actual 11 minutes. That's the actual average thrusting time. You know.
And that's not, and you know, a lot of those instances, the lady's thinking, get a hook, get this clown off, you know, show's
yeah,
over.
Right. Yeah, if she's done it 3 minutes, she's like, yeah, whatever. You know. However, I started thinking about, let's see if I can tell a story on a family show.
It's not a family show.
It's not a family show. I was having sex with this woman. It was like, you know, I'm 60 minutes in now, baby. You know, if I'm not doing something right, you got to let me. I'm in good shape, but this is crazy. 60 minutes in. And so then we start coming up with this idea that rather than trying to be this kind of bedroom athlete, the guy should go the exact other way. And so I decided that one of us should write a book called The 30-Second Load. You know,
I'm an efficiency expert, baby.
You know what? You know, if I break a sweat, it means it's time to stop. Yeah, you know, like Timothy Ferriss with his 4-hour work week. I thought the 30-second load was going to be a book that's going to be a big seller. I thought, you know, but
yeah, sadly, self-loathing and contempt. The market for that is limited, Eugene. That's people want to buy dreams.
Hey, there's no loathing involved. If you're delivering a 30-second load, you're a man who knows the value of time. You know?
That's right. Time is money, honey. I want a discount.
Hey, whatever. Handle it. I gotta go.
Come on, baby. You know you can squeeze in 3 other clients in my hour. Let's go.
I maximize your time.
I didn't even get a glass of water. You don't even have to wipe the coffee table off. Come on. Anyway, not that I would know anything about that topic. My wife's prosecuted many a case like that, but that's neither here nor there. So McDonald, Woodley, you've got a classic guy on the decline as far as becoming less and less entertaining each time out, versus Tyrone Woodley, who's following the Rashad Evans path or the Josh Koscheck path away from lay and pray into nascent knockout artist. How about that?
Yeah, I'm nascent.
Mr. Stanford had to correct me.
know. And
I
I
had to
did
teach
it
myself these words.
I did it so like gracefully that it was like, man, yeah.
That's why it stung so. That's
I,
the contempt of you West Coast Ivy Leaguers for a poor state
no.
schoolboy.
I'm a prisoner of California, man. Hey, I got the gi that says Brooklyn on it. That tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
I was trying to get a job as Phil Baroni's translator for a long time.
Have you seen Phil Baroni's car? You know the translator job's not going to pay very well.
Yeah, right, yeah. But so no, I'm gonna go with Woodley on this one for sure because he's also gotten that unique space of he is discontented. You know, did you see recently he was going, what kind of sport am I in? What kind of sport am I in when a guy can talk himself into 4 fucking fights? Well, you're still here. Hey, Leopoldo Serrao is still lurking around in the background.
Is he waiting for you to mop up for your discount? Or?
Yeah, there he is. Well, I made a joke once about how when he gave me the key, that it was great because now I could film porn here. And then he took away my key and has never given it back.
Some jokes are tells, Eugene. Some jokes are tells. That's true.
So he'll let me do the show from here, but he won't leave me alone here for fear that.
So how long after you get off the match is he down there with the bleach cleaning it off?
Oh, he follows me as I roll with the bleach.
Well, nobody wants to be Paul Bradley and get kicked off the Ultimate Fighter for having skin herpes. All right. Which probably bleach wouldn't help you with anyway. No. So we're both picking Woodley here. I like Woodley. I think he's coming. I think stylistically he's going to be trouble for McDonald, but we will see. McDonald's got the reach, and he's long and lanky. And if he can recapture that psycho chainsaw killer, Woodley shouldn't have a chance. Like
I don't know. I don't know whether it's money that ruins them or fame.
I think it's the TriStall gym, man. I think they put something boring in the water there, and Francis Carmont occupies your body. Another topic I want to do on intrigue. You've read Naked Lunch, right?
Yes.
The 4 political parties of Interzone, and you only have to read like that one section again. You remember that? There's the liquefactionists, the cloners, rescinders, and the factualists.
Yep.
So anyway, we can do that in August.
I heard on some college radio, I think it was KFJC, did a whole bit on Burroughs and his extended philosophy. And it was like, man, I don't remember him being nearly as interesting. And I kicked myself because I had multiple opportunities to interview the guy. And I was like, Burroughs, fuck that guy, you know. And I mean, we played in Lawrence, Kansas. The guy said, listen, I'll take you by Burroughs' house. Be glad to meet. I was like, fuck that guy. I should have gone for that, you know.
Man, that makes me feel a lot better about not paying to see John Lee Hooker a couple times. So.
Oh, that was stupid.
It was stupid. It was stupid. I feel bad about it. I feel bad about the 2 times I missed the Ramones. I saw the Ramones, but I missed them another 2 times and regret that. Missed him with Dee Dee when I had the chance.
Well, because when I saw Roy Orbison, man, and then he died like 6 months later, a year later, I was like, I'm really glad I saw him.
Yeah, Orbison. I hated Orbison in the late 80s and 90s when he had his little comeback thing.
Oh, yeah.
I just got caught up into trendiness. But I recently had a little traveling Wilburys experience where I suddenly appreciated the magnitude of that. That was quite a feat on George Harrison's part to put that band together. Anyway, topic for another day because we've got the flyweight. We've been buzzing to talk about this flyweight title fight all day. Eugene, fans are dying to hear. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson versus Ali. Is he suspended or not? Bagatinov. So the guy reportedly failed a drug test for a Sambo championship. Vancouver Commission seems to be letting it slide. So anyway, thoughts on the fight? You care?
I do care, and I like Bagatinov.
He's a scary old man.
I like him. I'd like to know what he got popped for exactly. You know?
I can find that out. I think I can find that out. Let me see.
I mean,
but you can talk while I'm Googling.
And I like Mighty Mouse too. You know,
Mighty Mouse is incredible. Fast. He's getting better.
Yeah.
Knockout in his last fight.
So hold on. We could say yes, we do care.
Absolutely.
It's a care in terms of a pick. When I think I want to pick Ali, I get nervous. I don't know.
Do you want to know the test, the drug?
Yeah, tell me.
A positive test for methylhexanamine, which is a stimulant. It's most often found in nasal sprays as a decongestant and short-term stimulant. Commonly found in supplements. Anyway.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I knew guys who used to put Tiger Balm on the inside of their nostrils, power lifters. So, breathing, you can just do cardio. But that shows me a guy who's got aging issues.
Bagatinov is pretty young to be having aging issues. Maybe he was just stuffy. Maybe he was stuffy. Allergies.
I think he's a Dominican Republic.
He's 28 and he's from Dagestan.
He's a Dominican Republic 28. It's like, hey, man.
Yes, the hard years.
Hey, man, we have photos of you here in 1957. So?
So it's not the hard years angle. It's the line about their age because nobody documented the angle.
Yeah, right. But I'm gonna go with Mighty Mouse. The guy's got too close to be considered yesterday's news, and I think he knows that and wants it known. So.
I think that Bagatinov, he's only got 3 UFC wins. Marcus Vicinius, Tim Elliott, John Lineker. Only one of those is against somebody I would really consider a contender, even in the shallowest of divisions. I just don't think he's quite ready. And here's what I want to see him do with the flyweight division. Quit stressing about adding new guys. Keep the guys you've got. Let them all fight each other. Let's have a round robin like they did back in Pancrase. Let all the fans get to know everybody in the flyweight division. Make some cuts at the end of the year for the guys that lost every fight or whatever. But do it K1 style. Do it Pancrase style. Do it Pride style. Let us get to know these guys. Let them cross-pollinate and see who's the best man. Because it doesn't tell me anything to see, hey, here's 2 guys who've never fought in the UFC before fighting each other. I have no context. It's like watching 2 drunks in the street fighting. They might be tough. They might not. I can't tell. I mean, which
I will do.
Hey, hell, if it's just like Dana says, if you see a fight on the street corner, you'll be watching it. I mean, that's so. I believe we have covered a panoply of issues and gone 10 minutes over the time. Any final thoughts?
Our panoply.
How dare you? The gall. Donna Shalala.
Yeah, you're reaching into your quiver. I'm gonna shillelagh you for that.
I'm an autodidact. How about that Eric Canner, ladies and gentlemen? How about that Eric Canner?
Oh, that shit was like, man, oh man. And you know what? You know what's gonna happen now? If I was a Tea Party guys, you gotta know they're gunning for you guys. They're not gonna let you do this. They're gunning for you hard. You're gonna find horse heads in your bed. They're going to be compromised. You better be cleaner than clean because your Republican Party is coming after you. They are cranky about this.
It's true, but at the same time, there's a lot of schadenfreude. I think John Boner's office was having a big party last night because nobody hates Eric Canner more than John Boner. So, I mean, it's I don't know.
But this still smells bad for. Hey, how are you? Hey, everybody. Look, we have somebody who's got a fight coming up. Here, sit down for half a second. We're talking about women's MMA. She can't hear you, but sit down. All right. This is Jermaine.
Hey, Jermaine.
Iron Lady. Well, she can't. She said hello. Jermaine Durandamy. She's got a fight coming up. When?
No, I'm not fighting.
Never mind. What happened to the fight?
Injuries.
Yours or hers?
Mine, unfortunately. But I'll be back stronger than ever before. And just rehabbing now, and I'll be back.
There you go. Let it never be said that Care Don't Care comes up with surprises every now and then. Ladies and gentlemen, Durandamy. And I'm still mispronouncing your name. Was it Durandamy?
Shemana Durandamy.
Yeah,
exactly. Never mind.
No,
exactly.
Shemana
Durandamy.
That'll never happen again.
Pronounced correctly, it's a lovely name.
Anyway.
All right. Well, it's a fun one. And so remember to give us a like on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson, at Kid Nate. I'm going to be gone for the next 2 weeks, so Eugene and Dallas and the gang will soldier on without me.
And then anybody, once again, Sumo, if you got it, help me out, ox_bo@hotmail.com, please.
Yes, or you could direct message him on Twitter or follow him or message him at Twitter. Read us on bloodyelbow.com, and Dallas and Zane and either Connor or I will be here tomorrow with the MMA Vivisection on UFC 174, and hopefully there won't be any more drug test failures.
Let me tell you about that guy.
Dun-dun-dun. All right, and on that note, adios MMA aficionados. This is Kid Nate signing off. Thanks a bunch, Eugene.
All right, man. See you. Bye.